So without any further ado, I am going to get started because I want to make sure that I give you guys the value that you certainly want to expect from any kind of Maven product or Maven vendor. So here I am. My name is Hopeton Smalling, and I am known as the Black Picasso, especially in crypto circles. So I'm here to do the second part of the masterclass for NFTs. Specifically, what I'm going to be showing you tonight will be focused on how to really get it done. So I'm going to show tips and tricks. I'm going to actually use the tools live. So this is not going to be a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to actually show how to manipulate code. And we're going to do a lot in 1 hour. And after that, if you guys want any support, you can certainly reach out to Maven and find me or any of my compadres in regards to the other presenters, Chris and Trader Mike, in regards to getting support for your NFT journey. But just wanted to spend the time and really dig in and show you exactly how to get it done. Now, for this demo, I have some computers set up that have essentially specialized software and specialized scripts. Now, anyone who is here for the demo and has paid for the class, I will make sure to provide any of those scripts to you if you are interested in them. If you think you can use them, certainly reach out to me on the Maven app, message me, and I will be happy to send you a copy of the scripts. And also in support of the promotion that we were offering, all of you here in the room who are looking for the free NFT, all I'm looking for you to get that is message me on Maven. I just need your email address, and I need your Ethereum and your Matic, your Polygon wallet addresses, so that I can send those NFTs to your direct wallet. So at the end of the presentation, I'll certainly remind you of that again. But at this time, without any further ado, I'm going to jump right in and start really talking you through how do we create an NFT. And there are essentially a couple things for us to discuss before we actually start, because the question last time in the class given by Chris was answering what is an NFT and some of the different ways you can use an NFT. And as you know from that demonstration, NFTs have a lot of use cases. You can actually use NFTs to unlock so many different things. I've heard of NFTs being connected to real estate. Now, I am a published author. You can get my book right on Maven, and I'm using NFTs. So if you buy an NFT, you unlock and can get a copy of my book. So that's one way that you can use NFTs. And I'll show you my process tonight. I'm going to take you behind the scenes and under the hood so that we can actually understand how to create an NFT. So without any further ado, I'm sharing my screen, and let's understand how to craft an NFT. Now, there are different types of NFTs, right? So there are certainly NFTs that can be done programmatically. I won't have a lot of time to show you how to create an NFT programmatically and load it to the tune of thousands on OpenSea within an hour. But what I do have the time to show you is certainly a professional process that will allow you to achieve a high quality NFT and distribute it and manufacture unique copies. So remember, the definition of NFT is non-fungible token. And that means essentially this is going to be unique. Every NFT has to be unique. So how do you achieve this? Do you sit around and create unique pieces of artwork? Certainly you can. That is one way to get that done. But what I'm going to show you is how to programmatically get it done. So let me show you how this all gets set up. Now I'm in the application. This is Photoshop Professional, and I'm jumping in and I'm just going to show you exactly how I was able to produce thousands of NFTs using tools and scripts based out of the professional application called Photoshop. So for example, you are looking at my Photoshop, and at a basis, I have the NFT that's a drawing. This is a drawing that was drawn of me when I was in Paris, France. So it kind of looks like me. I was probably a little younger when this was drawn, but anyway, so you have that asset. And then behind the scenes, you also have a colored background. And notice I just turned off the visibility on that layer, and the background color turned off. So essentially, I'm putting together a variety of different attributes, and those variety of different attributes will allow you to get variation, right? So the yellow color is one variation. There's a green color, that's another variation. Another off green color, another variation. I like green, so that's why I put a couple different types of greens. And then even another money green. I even have another variation of gray. So when we look at the layers, essentially this is what you have to do to set this thing up. You have to create the actual, whatever it's going to be. It can be a drawing or what have you. And then you got to figure out what the variations are. In my variations, I chose to vary the words, right? Apex asset, speaking about Bitcoin. I chose to vary my eyebrows, and I chose to vary the background color. Now you could choose to vary any different characteristics you want to vary in your non-fungible token, so that as we process this script, it will create the variations programmatically after you choose what they are. So you saw the first thing that I chose was background color. So that was one variation, right? The next thing that I'm going to do, then you have your base image. That's the base image layer, right? So that will be base image. And then the next is eyebrows. So then the eyebrows, what I have with the eyebrows are a number of different levels, all right? Notice there's no eyebrows now, or the eyebrows are a little higher, right? So I varied the eyebrows because it's just a cute way to kind of play with variations, right? So that's one variation that I added in there. And then the words were easy, right? Especially if you know anything about Bitcoin, and I know quite a bit, then you can choose words that you want to feature as a variation. So I said Bitcoin or bust, or I said hold on for dear life, or Bitcoin to the moon, or Bitcoin equals Picasso. How convenient. Or stack your Satoshis, right? Or dollar cost average the thing, right? Just different variations. Now, when you want to understand how many variations this is going to buy you, you're going to multiply. This is essentially going to be probability. So you're going to multiply the number of layers times each other, and it will tell you the amount of variations. Well, I know that I can produce, with all of the variations that I have, over 1,500 different variations, and each one of them will be unique because it will be one unique color, a unique eyebrow setting, and a unique set of words. All right. So if you think about variations, you can think about this in a number of different ways. So if you've seen and shopped for NFTs, you've seen they vary the background color. Sometimes they vary the hats that the character might be wearing, that you could vary the clothes. There's no end to how you can handle these different variations, or as someone might determine them, could be rarities. So the more rare an NFT's characteristics are, the more rare it would be in terms of market value. So you can also, when you're creating the different variations, think about things that can make your NFTs super rare. So it could be the image itself, it could be the type of clothes, it could be the hat, it could be the background, whatever you think is going to make it more rare. Remember, in NFTs, you know, there really are no hard and fast rules. There's a lot of freedom in regards to how you bring this artwork to life. All right. So the next thing that I want to show right now would be how we, after we build our different layers, right? So we have our background layer for my example, the eyebrows that I'm going to use for variations, and the words. How do I now build that into, you know, the variations? Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to edit a piece of script. And then that script will allow us to really bring those variations to life. So let me show you how that works. And I'll open it up right now, and then we'll walk through it. All right, and just so everyone knows and you're comfortable, you don't have to be a programmer in order to make this happen. All you need to do is be detail oriented. And once you're detail oriented, you will be able to handle what I'm about to show you. So it might seem ultra complicated, but it's not going to be ultra complicated. I will step you through and show you essentially how to handle it. So let me go ahead and I'm just waiting for the script. It's a pretty detailed piece of JavaScript. So, and I'm using Notepad++ as the application to open that piece of. So just giving that a second to open. And then we'll walk through this. And then after we finish with the variations for our NFTs, the next question that I'll answer for you will be, you have this 1,000 versions or variety of NFTs. How do you load it? You can definitely go to OpenSea and load one by one, but if you did that, it could take you months to get your NFT collection loaded. And there's a few different ways to go about this, and I'm going to show you essentially some tips and tricks in regards to how to do it. No, I'm not sharing the screen just yet. I'm waiting for my file to open. So just give me a second, and then I will share it. It's just a heavy piece of code. For whatever reason, it takes a little while. Let me just open up a different one, no problem. The one thing about opening up or working with Photoshop or any of these applications, you want to make sure you have a decent amount of power on your machine to run these type of applications. You don't want to run a lot of multiple things at the same time. And that's why even for this demonstration, I'm using two fairly high-powered laptops. Both of these laptops are, they have multiple cores. They're very new. I'm on a ThinkPad that's 6 months old, and then I have another Asus model that's actually a little newer than that. And both of them have 16 gigs of memory, so a lot of processing power. And even with that processing power, it's struggling to keep up with the demands of doing Zoom and Photoshop. So I split it into two machines so that when I move to the second part of this demonstration, I wouldn't have any problems. So Sorry for the delay. It's being temperamental. And while I wait, if there's any questions, I certainly am happy to take any questions while I get this file open. All right, this is good. I'll just use Notepad because ++ is not, even though it would have given a much clearer view, we can still do it in Notepad. All right, so as we are preparing to run Photoshop to really process our variations, what we need now is to really understand how to tell Photoshop how to get this done. So what I'm going to share right now is essentially Notepad, and this is a piece of JavaScript that is going to show you the instructions that we're going to give Photoshop in order to define the layers. Now, I know this looks complex, but I'm just going to walk you through it. Remember what I told you in terms of the variations? What we had to do here was define each different layers of variation. Now, when I share this script with you, any of you that have Photoshop and looking to kind of run this automation, just know you don't have to change much on the document. For example, you don't have to change anything in terms of how it's defining the layers or the groups, right? You can leave, as long as you have 3, then you keep it, everything in sets of 3, and that will work. Let's say you wanted to add 4. If you wanted to add 4, then you need to add a whole nother level of each of these rows, right? If I needed to add 4, then I would need to copy 1 row and multiply it to add a 4th characteristic. So you don't just have to be defined to 3 variations. You can add multiple variations. The next thing that you want to do here is define the output path. So what I have here is the name of the file name, right? And so essentially, when we talk about the file name, then essentially what it's going to do is use that to define it, right? And essentially, this is not just defining the file, it's defining the folder. And then the actual file output is on this line here where it says save file. I named it Black Picasso 2022 _, and then it will start to number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, one thing about the next step of this process is that you can't, in order to automate the uploading of your thousands of variations efficiently to OpenSea, you can't give a name at this step of the process. You would have to eliminate the name and go right to the generation of a number. And once you get it right to the generation of a number, then you'll be good to go, right? So what's going to happen is it's going to print out the file. It will have the name and make it a PNG, right? And then that is how you're going to produce that file. So it'll produce a folder. We'll just open up a folder, and then it will start loading those variations into that folder, right? And it will be numbering them 1, 2, 3, all the way till your variations have finished. All right. So it may seem complicated, but it's not. Just remember these small steps. When I share the file with you, if you have 3 variations, then you don't have to touch anything in the top. If you need 4, then you need to add a row on each level. The one thing you have to be careful about with JavaScript, just as a hint, if you see an error message, reach out to me. I'm happy to help you troubleshoot. But the tip is, when you have an open bracket, you should have a closed bracket, right? So for every time you open a bracket, then you have to close that bracket. So if you're going to put another layer, just make sure you have the appropriate number of brackets to close. So you have a master closed, and then you have 1 for each of the 3 layers. If you add another layer 4, then you would need to add another close bracket right here, right? Then the name of the folder that you're going to create, then your file name down here, right? So it will make sense in just a second. If I confused any of you, that's okay. Just bear with me, all right? So we're done with how we're going to define it to work. Now let's actually run the variations and see how it's going to put out the different varieties. In order to run the automation, what you're going to do now would be, you're going to go into the file menu of Photoshop, and you're going to go into scripts. And at this step of the process, you're going to go to browse. You're going to find the folder that has the JavaScript that you're looking for. Then you're going to load it. And once you load it, it's automatically going to start pumping out variations. Notice it has, it's starting to run. And then as it starts to run, it's automatically going to start creating variations based upon what you told it to do. All right. And I'll show you a little bit of how that works, and then we'll move on to step 2 in terms of, now we've created all these different variations, what do we do with them? So let that move a little bit, and then I'll show you exactly what's happening behind the scenes. Okay, and what you're seeing right now is essentially a folder, and it's producing the variations live, one by one by one by one by one. All right. So now that you have your variations, and I'm not going to allow it to just keep pumping out variations because I've already created them, so that would be a waste of time. I'm going to stop it, and then I'm going to show you the final step of this process. After you create the PNG formats, just know that for the distribution up, if you want to accelerate your variations to OpenSeas, I recommend actually not using the PNG format, but using the JPEG format. And the thing that I'm going to show you now is essentially using the same level of automation. Once you have those PNG versions, you can automatically convert them to JPEGs using the same type of process. You don't need the script. It's built right into Photoshop to handle the processing of batch format changes. All right. So for those who have Photoshop and are aware, it would be in the file menu. And then essentially what you would be doing is you're going to be converting it from PNG to JPEG. One second, let me see that. There we go. So it's in file. And then you're going to go to scripts, image processor. And this is the final step. And then for the final step, what you'd be doing here is you'll be choosing the folder that has your PNG files. You'll be converting them to JPEG format, and then max out the quality on the JPEG. It will just allow that to run really, really smooth. All right. So now with that being said, we're going to move on to part 2 of the demo. And this is the fun part that I think you guys all will really benefit from. So because the next part of this demo has to do with using another tool. And this is a tool that I have to introduce to you. It's called Spiral. Spiral is a wonderful partner that has allowed me to demonstrate this for you this evening. And as a result of you buying this course, you will get an extra 10% if you wish to utilize this application. So you would have to just say Maven NFT because you came to this class, and you'd be able to go to the Spiral website and get an extra 10% off. So this is a tool that will help you essentially in a masterful way upload thousands of NFTs. There's a lot of different applications out there, and there's actually ways for you to do it directly using Python. Well, guess what? This uses Python, and I'm going to show you the power of this engine in order to dynamically upload all of your scripts to OpenSea or anywhere you would like to automate it. So let's start by getting to OpenSea as an example so you can kind of see how a collection is made. So what I did here is I started to, before the class started here, I started to create a collection, right? So this is a collection for my Black Picasso NFTs, and essentially I'm just creating it right before you so you can kind of understand it. So you're going to choose your images, you know, you're going to create your URL, your description, everything has to be unique. Don't forget to select the percentage that you want to get if the item resells. So this is a way for you to, you know, get a benefit down the road. So if, you know, it sells for $10 in the future, you get $1, you get 10%. Make sure to put your wallet address. I always like to recommend using a ledger or another secure payment address. That's the address that I would put there. There's a couple different blockchains that you can select when you're creating a collection. If you use Ethereum, it will just require a little bit more cost, but it's still the most popular format for NFTs in the marketplace. So it's for any of my you know, exceptional, unique NFTs that are going to be highly desirable, I've always used Ethereum. Polygon allows you to save on gas fees, and that's desirable if you're trying to essentially sell your NFTs out there, right? Then you'll choose the way that you want it to be displayed. That's kind of self-explanatory, and then I'm going to go ahead and create this collection. So now that the collection is created, you know, and it's rough, I got to put a header on there, but I just want to show you, notice there's no content in here. How do we load this, right? So there's a lot of ways to do it. I want to show you how laborious it is to add a collection. If you go add an item, you got to go add individual pictures. You got to add the name, a URL to the website of the project, type a description. You're going to have to name the collection. Then you're going to have to go through one by one and add the different properties for each of the items in that collection. You can add levels, right? So for those of you who are adding something that's more like gamified, you can add the speed of a car or whatever. If it's statistic based, you can add, you know, the levels of the building or whatever it is, anything that had stats. I like to put unlockable content so that when someone goes in, they can get an access code to, let's say, my book, for example, will be one of the things that I'll add in there. That will be really cool. If it's explicit, a lot of people are getting into explicit NFTs. Not my thing, but if it's your thing, you know, more power to you. You can always check that and add your content. Usually, if you want to do a supply usually is at 1. Why? Because it's an NFT. NFT means that it's non-fungible. There's nothing else like it. It's very unique. As you saw, I created uniqueness by changing different variations of background, the words, and the eyebrows, right? So each one of my items is a one of one. It's on the Polygon blockchain, as I told it for the collection. And there we go. There's then I would say create if I wanted to walk through that. Now look how long it took me to just explain all of those different items to you, right? That took a little while, right? So imagine if you had to go through the process of doing a large collection of 1,500. That would take you weeks, right? So why would you want to do it that way? All right. So let me walk through the preparation that you need to do in order to get the process done. Using the Spiral app, and that's what I'm going to be demonstrating for you today. It would take me a lot longer for me to show you how to do this directly using Python, but Python is definitely behind the scenes in this application. What I'm going to be doing here is showing you how to use this, and it's very, very straightforward. So for one, I'm at the home page. They have what is called the easy upload or the advanced upload. We're going to do the advanced upload. Why? Because what it's going to allow us to do is all those different variations and characteristics for your NFT, you can build them into an Excel file. So I have that already pre-built. We're going to walk through the file, and I'll show you some different nuances of the Excel file. Hopefully you guys all are comfortable using Excel, and then I'll show you essentially some tips and tricks in order to get that done very, very well. Then the next thing to be concerned with is the different file structure types. You can use the JSON, which is a JavaScript file type, and there's a way for you to create all of those different properties for your NFT in that format. Or you can use simple Excel. I recommend to use Excel, and I'll show you the reason why. Then it has a button that allows you to open up the Chrome browser, and then the button to begin the actual upload. Last but not least is the actual settings for the NFT. So for the NFT, the one thing that I recommend is that you constantly check for updates. Checking for updates is very, very important, because once you check for updates, it's going to allow you to make sure that you are running the latest version. And you see, I just did the confirmation, and you got a light box that said you are using the current version, right? Then the next thing that you're going to do is you have to verify the license, and then it's asking for the NFT URL, all right? You also want to check your browser. And so what I'm going to do right now is show you one way to find the browser version. The latest version of Chrome is version 98. The last version is 97. Always try to keep your browsers updated, because when they are out of date, then you're insecure, but also you lose functionality, and you don't want to lose functionality, right? So, so that's two things. We're going to go to the browser for a couple things right now, and then I'll show you the final pieces of this. So let's go to the browser, and let me show you. For one, we need the name of the collection. So let's go to the collection. You have to go to my collection. Notice I have 3 collections. I'm going to go to the collection that I just made, and that's where I'm going to get the name of the collection to add into the settings. So I'm just going to copy that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to find in Chrome where you got to go to Help and About Chrome, and then you'll see version 98. That's where you find the actual version. All right. Then now, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go right back to here. And then the place where you want to leave this in order to start the automation is in the add item. This is where you start it, right? So I'll leave that and then return back to the application. I'll add the final piece of information, which is the name of the collection. And then this is going to be ready to rock and roll. All right. So once I have that done, it will be ready to go once I've selected the actual Excel file. And I'll walk through that Excel file so you understand the nuances of it. It's pretty simple. And for those of you who are interested in Spiral, as I said, I recommend it. And as a, a benefit for you coming to this masterclass, if you use the word Maven, all lowercase, Maven NFT, and I'll make sure that it's in the chat. You can always reach out to me through the Maven app and ask questions if you do want it. Maven NFT will give you an extra 10% off, and it's a very inexpensive application. The developers are pretty awesome. And so here is the structure of this file. So, you know, the file is available on their website, spiralart.nft, and you'll be able to download it. So that's not a problem, but I just want to walk you through it. So the first column here tells you that you have to choose the location of the image. Now, I want you to understand that it's difficult to create this in this kind of way. So what you want to do in order to create the correct structure so you can identify where the image is, you want to make sure you use the concatenate function. That's how I will create a working file and then take that working file and process it forward. So by concatenate, what I'm saying to you is that I'll share the first image location, and then I will essentially have a row that has the numbers. Then I'll have a row that has the end part of the process, and then essentially concatenate, bring them all together. And this is just copied and paste so that I have all of the file names to match the name of the file that I actually want to be on the file when I'm done, right? So it'll be the Black Picasso 1 for that first NFT, and that's matches 1.jpg. Hopefully that made sense. Then I have a copy of my website. The supply is going to be 1. I'm using the Polygon blockchain. All of the script that I want written in the description is listed there. So you can list all the script that you want. If there's going to be unlockable content like a URL, and I think I may do something like that later, but right now it will be listed there. Then it says explicit content, false or true. I said false. Then the price. Now this is the price that you want to start off with. I'll probably start off with a little lower just to get that ball rolling. And I'm just gonna drag and copy down. This is just the first 150. I just, for the demonstration, just wanted to show that much. Then you have to use the proper format to show duration. I'm choosing 1 week. Then the cool thing here is it allows you to go through and add all of the properties to your file that you want uploaded. And notice you can do this for 150, you could do it for 1,000, you could do it for 10,000. That's how awesome this automated process is. And again, you know, the best practice is to do it in this kind of way so that you can maximize your time and focus on the quality of your NFT. All right. So I have different properties for my NFT. So you could say collection, the name, the author, the name, whatever it is. You can have all the different pieces that you want and then all it is a open bracket, quote, and then comma, quote, open quote, close quote, and then close bracket. And that it allows it to know that this is one property going to be uploaded for one NFT. And then I just literally copied and pasted straight down. And once you do that, you're good to go. Now, remember what I showed you in the website, it also had level and stats. You could add those as well if they were relevant to your NFTs, and it would be in the same kind of format. So this is just pretty awesome. Once this is done, now again, there's a lot of ways that we could have done this demo. I could have showed you raw Python, but I would have not been able to get through a lot of Python in 1 hour. But I wanted to use this time to really show you one approach and especially this powerful application to get the job done. All right. So now what I want to show you, and I'm going to just share my full screen now. And by sharing my full screen, what I want to show you is essentially how this bad boy is going to work, right? So here's the Python display showing behind the scenes of the app. Then I'm going to show you the actual app and get that done. Let me see, where are we? We're hiding on a different screen. Okay, there we go. All right. So we have all of the pieces to get this job done now. Okay. So now we already set our settings up. We're good to go. We know how to get the file. We know what we're going to be utilizing in regards to the settings. We set the correct approach. Now what we want to do, we have this thing standing by. We want to automate and upload all of these different NFTs. So we're live. So I'm hitting begin upload, and let's see this puppy work. Give it a second, wait for it. Wait for it. It's trying to process and make sure all the pieces are in place. And while this begins to turn, certainly I'll take any questions if there are any, but definitely just want you to know that this is a masterful way for you to save time. And it's also a masterful way for you to, essentially share your NFTs to the world. Now, there's certainly a lot of strategy in regards to, now that you created this NFT collection, how do you get that out there? That's a whole another topic, but hold on one second. It's saying that there's an incorrect Chrome version. We know that that is the correct version, so there's no problem with that. Let's just refresh it. And again, this is a live demo, so we know how live demos work. No problems. All right. Go back to the settings. We know we have the right. We know that. We know this is good. Fill is required. All right. We have the right version of Chrome. What we might want to do is just close Chrome and open Chrome. That might be what we need to do to refresh this connection. And what I like to do is allow it to open Chrome itself. And in that way, it gives us what we need to kind of get things started. So go ahead and open it. Go back to the collection and then start to add the item. Give that a second. And know that this is certainly not for the faint of heart, meaning that, doing web-based development, live websites, it's not going to be perfect. Smart contracts are not perfect. I've done research on smart contracts and have found hundreds of errors with smart contract technology. However, it's good technology, and it's a good innovation for all of us creatives. And I definitely encourage you to utilize it to the best of its advantage. All right, and to your advantage. So give me a second. Let me see what's going on. Okay, I think it needs me to sign in. Of course. All right, so we got in, and now it will give me access to my collections. We will get this to rock and roll. I hit it, and let's watch her start to work.
Are you taking questions also right now?
You can take questions, absolutely. While it's actually demonstrating the automation, yes, now is a good time for questions. How can I help?
Do you advise selling on other NFT marketplaces other than OpenSea?
Of course, there are a lot of wonderful marketplaces for you to sell on, and I definitely recommend selling on all of them. The Solana marketplaces are amazing. As you can tell right now, this is, I can walk away and go have some dinner, right? And this thing is going to continue loading those NFTs that I told it to load right to my collection, right? So that's the exciting part about this level of automation, is that it gives us the ability to really benefit from Python. Notice I was able to do both demos in under an hour, and this is actually working. It's actually processing my collection and doing what I asked it to do, right? There's a lot of benefit to using these things. It's certainly not for the faint of heart, because even while you step away, sometimes OpenSeas might have an issue. But the one thing about this particular collection location, OpenSea, is that it's the best, it's the largest. But I do recommend using other marketplaces. There's marketplaces on crypto.com. I'm actually creating a marketplace, right, for music-based NFTs. So I definitely believe variation is how you can get to your target audience, especially if you have an interest in different segments of the market.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Happy to take any final questions while I'm wrapping up.
You said you recommend using JPEG and not PNGs. Why?
Well, when you're uploading 1,000, for example, if you wanted to you can upload your master files in any format. You could even upload video formats. What I'm sharing with you is sometimes with the automation, the heavier formats, especially if you are, really trying to use large collections, you're going to see the large collections will use GIFs for animated GIFs, or they'll use JPEGs. And in those formats, they're very light, and it allows you to you can manage 10,000 very easily. The larger formats, you can offer it as kind of like one of those unlock pieces if you really want to share high quality art with your audience. You can always put that as one of the unlock features to say if they buy, especially if they buy at the higher levels, that you'll give them higher quality masters, right? But I recommend making your life easy, right? You can get into this for a lot of different reasons. I'm not sure why all of you are into crypto. Crypto has changed the lives of myself, my clients, and my community. And I promote crypto because it's independence, it's freedom, right? As an educator, I've run creative colleges. I have graduates who have done some wonderful things in creative arts, right, and technology. And I'm very, very proud of them. But I always encourage them to make sure that they work smart and not harder. And so the JPEG format just and GIF and the like are just a little lighter, and the PNG formats in their high quality, especially coming directly out of Photoshop, can just be a little heavier. And working with automated software packages, you'll get better performance from the lighter versions.
So resolution wise, is there like a recommendations around that? Like,
You said is there, what was the question?
Resolution.
Oh, okay. No, you can have resolution as high as you want. And as you know, there's a couple different ways to look at resolution, right? If you wanted to give, let's say you really wanted to share high quality versions of your artwork, right? You can feel free to share vector formats. Because as you know, if you're into creative arts, you know that vector formats can be blown up. I can take a vector of, let's say, the Maven logo, and I can blow it up on the side of a skyscraper in vector format and have no loss of resolution, right? And then it's still very light because the vector format it's mathematical computation. So it says, all right, if I'm going to be 10 feet by 10 feet, I need to have this much dots to make up the quality of the image. So I recommend sharing vector formats if you're really interested in the quality of the image.
Okay, so like SVGs and stuff.
Of course, you know it, Illustrator.
Yeah.
So you can take any of your artwork, drop it into Illustrator and trace it and have high quality versions that are not going to lose resolution.
And you said for royalty, you use usually another ledger wallet, not your wallet, or what?
Well, I use, in terms of holding for security, I recommend using any of the ledger products. Why? Because then when it comes to your payment coming back to you, you want it to be in a secure fashion, right? Don't leave any crypto on exchanges. Don't leave them on mobile wallets or anything connected to the internet. Put it to cold storage. So in cold storage format, this is going to give you maximum protection. So when you really need your commissions, they'll be sitting there for you.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
You got it. Now with 1 minute left, I'm happy to take any questions, but remember, after this masterclass, you can still have access to me or any of the other instructors. We're happy to be here for you. All you have to do is reach out through the Maven app. You can ask questions. And there's certainly other parts to it, but as I shared with you, the Spiral application, if you use Maven NFT, all one word, you get an extra 10% off of that. And I can put that information, I'll make that available to all of you in the class today. And then the final piece is this. I want to make sure that everyone within the sound of my voice, if you want a free NFT, I will be able to give you a very high quality NFT. I just need your email address. Drop your email address, your Ethereum, and your Matic wallet, public wallet addresses. Send that to me as a message in Maven, and I will make sure that I airdrop you your free NFT. So with that, I definitely will wrap up unless there are any other burning questions. I see my buddy Chris. Chris, man, thanks for coming out and supporting. This is cool. Thanks, man. I see a lot of good folks here, you know. So
good presentation. Thank you, man.
absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot here, man, and you know, there's a lot more to show, but I just wanted to make sure that folks have a good basis to start from and know that they can use tools like Photoshop. They can use, you know, high quality Python. Excuse that, I'm in New York, you hear motorcycles all the time. High quality Python scripts and other applications like the Spiral app. And you can really, you know, have the ability to run a very high quality NFT collection. So I wish you all the best. If anyone out there needs our help, the masters are here to definitely support you. You can book a consultation with us. My book, Don't Buy Beer with Bitcoin, is on sale through the Maven app as well. So happy to share with anyone, and look forward to further communication. It's been my pleasure, and with that, I'm definitely going to sign out. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye.